Now, joining us on the line from Guanajuato is Luis Guevara. He is with the Knights of Columbus, the liaison for the Mexican membership of the Knights of Columbus. Luis, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Alicia. How are you?
Hello, Luis. I'm well. You are live to Canada and the world.
Well, very happy, and you guys are with me here in Mexico, in Guanajuato. I'm actually right now at the Parque Bicentenario, and we're watching at the big screen what's going on in Guanajuato. There's thousands of people on the streets, all the way from León to the city of Guanajuato, which is an ancient, beautiful colonial city. There were people cheering to the Pope. You can see children, old people, adults, everybody's on the street waiting for the Pope.
Luis, tell me, how is Mexico receiving Pope Benedict? There were some concerns that he's a little bit reserved, but how are the people welcoming him?
The people couldn't be more excited. There were a lot of media interviewing people before he arrived, before he landed. People were crying. People were so happy that he was here. Yesterday on the street, there were an estimated of 800 by for a couple of seconds. And people wait for hours just to see him pass by. And people were happy about it. Young people all over the streets waiting for him, singing all the night, waiting for him to come out again. It's just people is very excited and very happy. This is the most Catholic part of the country. This is geographically speaking is the center of Mexico, and here important shrine dedicated to Christ the King. That's why he's here, and that's why this area is so Catholic also, because this area during the persecution of the church, they actually fight for religious freedom, and it's the 95% Catholics in this area, and they feel very devoted. They feel with a lot of love for their priest, for their bishop, and especially for their pope.
Luis, you mentioned about the fight for religious freedom. Now, today everyone knows Mexico as a highly Catholic, highly devout nation, but it wasn't always the case. Can you explain, for those Canadians and North Americans who might not be familiar with the history of Mexico, can you explain that period?
Can you hear me, Alicia?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yes, I can tell you. Actually, yes, Mexico has been always a very Catholic country, but you wouldn't believe that it was until 1991 that the government recognized the Catholic Church as an institution, as a religious organization. Before, did not exist as an organization because of we have a very atheist, very socialist communist government that didn't want the Catholic Church and tried to extinguish it during the violent persecution of the church from the 26th to the 29th, 1926 to 29. And it was with John Paul II in his first trip. Actually, he had to pay a fine to the Mexican government because he was wearing clerical clothes. It was also because of John Paul II, all the Catholics here in Mexico think so, that the proper diplomatic process allowed the Constitution to recognize any religious organization. And now, little by little, Mexican citizens have been recognized the right to religious freedom. Precisely right now in the Senate, there's a law that has been proposed by the lower house of representatives to allow even major liberties to the religious organizations. For example, something like salt and light wouldn't be possible in Mexico. The Catholic Church or Catholics cannot own networks, media networks, because simply it was inconceivable. But right now, little by little, these fights have been conquered, and more Catholic citizens in Mexico have major freedom.
Wow. And you've been doing something during this papal visit specifically related to the people who lost their lives during that persecution. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So as I told you, there was the many people spontaneously, when the government tried to take over the churches after suspended the ministry, people spontaneously, precisely in this part of the country, just didn't allow the army to take over the churches. And then there was other Catholic organizations all over Mexico, among them the Knights of Columbus, that tried to coordinate the effort to repel the suppression of the government. So obviously the Catholic Church canonized 25 saints, martyrs that were killed during this persecution. These were priests that obviously didn't fight, decided to stay with the people and administer the sacraments to them. And those saints, among them 6 members of the Knights of Columbus, were recognized by and canonized by John Paul II in 2000. A second group of these martyrs, in which there are many laymen, were beatified by Benedict XVI in 2005. Actually, the Knights of Columbus sponsored a reliquary that will be tomorrow at the Mass, and that Benedict XVI will bless. And this reliquary is going to tour all over Mexico, United States, and we want also to bring it to Canada.
Wow. Luis, thank you so much for giving us this context. Pope Benedict has just arrived at the Casa del Conde Rule, so we're going to have to leave you now. We're going to try to connect with you again a little bit later, but we're going to have to leave you now and go to the courtesy visit between Pope Benedict and Felipe Calderón. Thank you so much.
That's correct. Thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Canada. God bless.
Thank you.